All right, let's get company specific again. And Genex Power launching a $90 million capital raise to fund its Kidston pumped storage hydro project. To take us through the details, Executive Director Simon Kidston joining us live. Simon,
good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming into the studio. All right, so what have you come up with just as far as you're raising this equity, you're completing the financing for the pumped storage hydro project? What's that amount to?
Well, a major milestone for the company. We've, over 5 years, have de-risked the project, and yesterday we announced that we'd completed the fundraising. So the project, all key agreements have been signed and the funding's in place, and we expect to kick off construction for our pump hydro project in April. So massive milestone for the business.
Well, okay, so if that kicks off in April, what's the timeline to getting it producing power?
It's a huge project. So we're going to have 800 people during the construction program over 3.5 years. So first production, first energisation will be in 2025.
And does this also involve the construction of a transmission line at the same time, which you've actually got additional funding for? So this comes through the Generator Connection Access Agreement. So what this, the Queensland Government obviously kicking in cash as well.
Yeah, that's right. So this was once a gold mine in far north Queensland, and it's going to be connected to the grid with a brand new high voltage transmission line. And Genex and the Queensland Government together will co-fund that transmission line, and in doing so strengthen and bolster the Queensland grid. So make it more reliable, make it more stable, which will be great news in terms of developing more renewable projects into the grid.
Yeah, so this is very much in that green vein, isn't it?
So look, I think about it like a giant water battery. You can store energy by pumping water from the low reservoir to the upper reservoir, and you can then generate power by releasing that water and dispatching it into the grid. So of course, you know, renewable energy is great, it's low cost, it's efficient, but it doesn't always work if the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing. So by having low cost energy storage options, we can make energy more reliable and more stable for consumers.
Yeah, that's essentially what was planned as far as Snowy Hydro Mark II was concerned,
right.
Exactly as that you're talking about that hydro battery. Are you looking at anything else at the moment, with that concentration just in that Queensland project?
So I guess our core business is energy storage and renewable energy generation. We've got 2 operating solar farms. The pump hydro is our flagship project, but our next cab off the rank will be a battery project which we're developing in Rockhampton. So that's probably slated for construction later this year.
Sorry, is that solar?
No, well, we've got 2 solar farms,
Yeah.
The pump hydro, and then a battery project which will be located at Rockhampton.
There was a net loss posted, about 3.4 million in the last half-yearly report. Yep. What is the plan? How does Genex get to profitability?
So we've made a revenue projection all the way to 2055, and we can do so with confidence because the vast majority of our cash flows are backed by long-term contracts, and those revenues don't vary by energy prices or energy volumes. They're just very secure contracts. So fantastically strong revenue stream, and we're going to see a step up in those revenues progressively over coming years, to the point where they average just over $82 million per annum for the next 30 years. So very strong, very secure cash flow backed by very major contracts.
And those contracts, how difficult are they to achieve in this environment? I mean, are you done and dusted in that regard, or is there always work to be done on that front? And how do you execute?
So we have now signed those contracts. They're long-term contracts. They took some years to negotiate and to finalise, but now they're locked, they're signed in, and they underpin the cash flow generation for the business over 30 years. So it's unusual for a smallish company to have those long-term contracts, but I think it really transforms our business to one which over time will be a very strong dividend payer.
If you're going to commit to significant capital expenditure, obviously which you are doing at the moment, do you have that certainty in place? Because of course that's been the question in Australia as far as certainly regulation is concerned, but also just as far as government policy, which we've had sort of mixed messages.
Look, there has been mixed messages, but this project has had the strong support from the Queensland Government and the Federal Government, and that's evidenced by the very strong financial support the project has received from both political parties. So I think the difference with this project is that it's energy storage. It makes energy more reliable, and that seems to have very strong bipartisan support.
Well, Simon Kidston, Genex Power, all really interesting stuff. So Kidston Clean Energy Hub is on the way.
It's on the way.
All right,
Great
keep us in the loop. Appreciate you coming in today.
Thanks very much.
All right, taking a look at the share price there, up over 150% over the past 12 months.